Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is that you are and wherever you may be. Thank you very much for making us a part of your day. I am Brad Franklin, a creative content writer here in Chesterfield, and I'm very glad to tell you that Chesterfield Behind the Mic is on the air once again. I have, in my career, done a lot of podcasts, okay? I have covered a lot of stuff. I've covered, even for this show, we've covered a lot of stuff. I've never covered an ice cream flavor before, and I'm really excited to check that one off of the list. If you haven't heard, Gelati Celesti is creating a specific flavor for Chesterfield's 275th anniversary, which is this year. We're celebrating that later this month. And actually, it's some fun timing as to when we're recording this podcast. Before we get into the ins and outs of all that, let me introduce my group here, my guests today. I got Suzy and Tom Rosser from Gelati Celesti. Suzy, Tom, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much for having us.
We're doing really well. Thanks.
I really appreciate you guys being here. Obviously, this is a very unique sort of situation, right? I mean, you know, for you guys, creating ice cream flavor is not like that unique, but for those of us who aren't in the ice cream business, it is. And I want to get into the ins and outs of how that even came to be and how it is that you even choose. You're going to have people pick an ice cream flavor, which I said we'll get into in a second. Before we dive into all that, though, I like to give folks a chance to sort of get a sense of who they're hearing from, right? Who are the folks talking to them on the podcast? And I want to get into Gelati Celesti itself in a second too, but for Tom, Suzy, give the listeners some of your background, how it is that you came to be in your roles with this company. Tom, we'll start with you.
Sure. Awesome. So I joined in January of 2022.
Okay.
I came from a career in construction. I was a project executive at a big multifamily contractor up in Northern Virginia, which the logical step from construction is ice cream, if you didn't know that.
That's usually how it works, right?
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And so for years I've been kind of talking on and off with Steve, Suzy and I's father, and you know, Kim had since exited the business. That's our mother.
Right.
And just been chatting with him, and I'd expressed an interest, and you know, he said, oh, come talk to me when the time's right.
Yeah.
And the time was right.
Right.
In kind of mid 2021, COVID made construction a nightmare. And frankly, I wanted to build, something with my family and, stop, working for the man. And so ice cream sounded a lot more fun and made the journey over in January.
And Suzy, working with your brother, what's that like? No, I mean, you don't have to get in that, but in terms, how did you end up being a co-president yourself?
Well, first off, working with my brother is so much fun. I think everybody should be jealous of that experience. But I actually started scooping ice cream at Gelati Celesti when I was 16.
Okay.
It was my first job. It was before my dad even bought the company.
Okay.
And then I went off to college. We're both Hokies. I had a degree in hospitality management. So I went to work at Omni Hotels, lived in San Diego. And then in 2019, my dad, Steve, was trying to get me back and convince me to move back and I could live by the beach. So we opened our Virginia Beach, our first location there.
Okay.
So I got to stay by the beach, which is awesome. And then moved into my role now of managing all of the front of house, stores, marketing, and HR side of things.
Let's get into the Gelati Celesti piece, and Suzy, we'll start with you. It's a name, obviously, a lot of people have connected to ice cream, right? Like you can't get around in this area without people wanting to go to Gelati Celesti. And that's not like an ad. I'm just being honest from my own family point of view. My daughter loves Gelati Celesti more than maybe she loves me, if we're going to be honest about it. Tell me a little bit about the company itself and how things sort of got started and ultimately led to, the company being what it is today. And then, Tom, we'll get to you after. Talk to me a little bit about the structure and the back of house part of it.
Sure. So the company started in 1984 by a gentleman, Peter Edmonds, and his father, and they ran it up until 2010. And Peter was looking to get out, and Steve was looking to buy a business. And they conveniently were best friends.
Okay.
They went to school together, college roommates. So they already had that friendship there.
Yeah.
So Steve bought it with the intent of growing the company.
Okay.
Opened one store the next year, moved our production to outside of our old West Broad store. And then eventually, now we have 10 stores, 3 in Hampton Roads, 7 in Richmond, but we truly feel like it is a Richmond staple, and we're so grateful for that.
10 stores, Tom. 10 stores across a pretty wide range of miles. I mean, Richmond is one thing, but to add in the Hampton Roads piece must, make things a little more complex as you sort of continue to grow.
Sure, absolutely. The funny thing, and Suzy didn't mention it all the time. People come up to me and they're like, hey, I was just driving down in Short Pump area and I live in Chesterfield and I saw you have a store out there. How many stores do you have? And I'm like, we got 10 now.
Yeah.
People, like, they lose their mind.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have 10 stores. Holy cow. But with the Virginia Beach market, this is before I had joined, but, Steve and Suzy were very confident that was the next logical leap.
Right.
There's a big awareness of the brand down there,
right.
Which we're still working on today, just to generate even more. And then from a logistical standpoint, it's not too far. Sometimes you get hung up at the disastrous Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, so the drive can be a little bit longer. But, it just added one more layer of deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
As far as making ice cream, we're serving the same product down there. So, it was a pretty, one-step, two-step process.
Right. Now, in terms of Gelati Celesti and the 275, so for those who may not, let me kind of take a step back and sort of give the lay of the land here. So Gelati Celesti is creating a new flavor for Chesterfield's 275th anniversary, which is this month. We're going to celebrate it on May the 25th and 26th, that entire weekend. It's kind of our celebratory signature event kind of thing. As we record this today, it is Tuesday, May the 7th. This evening, in fact, the number of, I think it's 6 citizens and then Mr. Holland from the Board of Supervisors, the 7 of them are going to be meeting at Gelati Celesti to actually choose the flavor itself. Now, how did folks get chosen for this? We kind of made a big deal about it. We put it out there. Folks put their, kind of nominated themselves, and then we sort of randomly chose people to essentially receive a golden ticket to essentially come and choose a flavor. In terms of this partnership, take me through how we got here. Suzy, we'll start with you. How did this kind of come to be, and how is it that you guys are even sitting here today?
So our good friend Jay, who's actually in the room with us, he reached out to us asking if we would want to make a flavor for Chesterfield's celebration, which of course we want to make a flavor for Chesterfield's celebration. So we jumped on a call with him and a few others from the Chesterfield team, and we're thinking, what's a Chesterfield flavor that we can think of?
Right.
But then, we're like, why don't we involve the community somehow and make it into a tasting and pick Chesterfieldians, Chesterfieldites, whatever we want to call them.
The people of Chesterfield.
The people of Chesterfield. So we wanted to involve the community, and we've picked 4 flavors that we've created that we're going to have 6 folks from Chesterfield taste tonight, and then we'll have the official Chesterfield flavor after today. So do you want me to let you know the flavors?
Well, before we do that, Tom, in terms of this process, from a business standpoint, I can imagine that this had to have been sort of a home run, but I can also imagine just the excitement of being able to have this unique opportunity to do something for a community that, is very specific to that community. What was that like for you guys?
Sure. Well, it was great having the opportunity come from the Swift Creek store. That's what we call our Chesterfield store.
Right.
It's our highest grossing store. So I go, oh, wow. This is awesome. Let's really get that community engaged.
Right.
And then from a business standpoint, Jay he's worked his tail off and getting some good PR around it, and has really pushed a lot of Facebook promotion, the video on Facebook of the drawing. It's just been fun all around.
A lot, and that's kind of been the staple for this the whole time, which has been like, you can think of turning 275 years old, and it admittedly kind of might sound, a little bit like, not accessible for a lot of people, right? But when you do some fun stuff to it, we're going to have a big celebration here. There's going to be fireworks and stuff. But one of the cool things is people are going to be able to come out and actually, for the first time, taste this specific ice cream that was created for them. Now, Suzy was about to go into this, and I'm really glad you gave me the chance to hold you up because I want to get into it now. I love the timing and the scheduling of this that it worked out. That as we sit here, you guys know what the options are on the table. We don't know what they're going to pick. I love that we don't know what they're going to pick. I love the fact that we're recording this before anybody's had a chance to put their spoons in the stuff, other than you guys, which, that's not fair. But at this point, all we know is that there won't be any peanuts and it's not sherbet. That's basically the way Jay explained it to me the other day, was that there's no peanuts and it's not sherbet, which, as anybody who knows me knows, I'm kind of a fan of sherbet. Suzy, what goes into picking those flavors? As you were sort of thinking through all right, what are some good options? How did you come up with the options you came up with? And tell us a little bit more about those options.
So we actually segregate our audience. We have folks, young folks, older folks, everybody enjoys our ice cream, but they're separated out into different demographics in the ice cream world. So we have adventurous who like, curry coconut or lavender, the flavors that aren't traditional. Then we also have the traditionalists. So they like the chocolate, the vanilla, butter pecan. We have the young and playful group. So they like cake batter, cookie dough. And then, a few folks who like the fruity ones. So we tried to pick a flavor from each of those categories. So there's really something for everybody in the mix that we're going to offer tonight.
Cool. How often do you roll out new flavors? Like, what's the usual sort of TikTok of that? Like, when is this something that is fairly prevalent? Is this something that happens every once in a while? Is there something that's more unique? Where does this fit in that sort of spectrum?
So we roll out flavors every week. We try to plan things out so that all the stores have flavors. So we'll have some seasonal flavors that last a couple months. We'll have some monthly flavors. And then we'll throw in some fun weekly ones. And we also, I know the production team might not love this, but we think of an idea today and we'll make it tomorrow because Barbie movie is coming out and we want to make a Barbie party flavor. So they're really good about doing some spur of the moment flavors to surprise and delights.
Now, Tom, in terms of distributing or planning to distribute an ice cream flavor that you don't know what it is yet. Obviously, it's going to be available, everywhere, I think, right?
Sure.
What goes into that process before you guys have actually before the tasters have had a chance to pick the one that's going to be the one? What's that process like on y'all's end?
Sure. So kind of piggybacking off what Suzy said earlier, and she didn't mention the kind of how you make the sausage in terms of ice cream flavors. We actually have a meeting. Every late December, Suzy, late December, early January. And everyone comes in and they set their coffee down on the conference room table, and our marketing folks put calendars all across the wall. So a conference room just like this. And we'll say, all right, let's start throwing some flavor ideas out there. And we just January, February, March. And then we look at current events, holidays, what hit last year, what didn't hit last year, and plan them all out. And then that way, kind of going into the planning process, our production department can kind of back in. And they'll say, okay, in May, we're doing peanut butter honeycomb. And so, that's a new flavor for us. Let's give it, an 8-week runway to figure out logistics. In this case, we don't have an 8-week runway. So with the flavors that we worked with our team, and by no means that was not exactly a scientific process. It was actually sitting around at our conference room table, and our production director and Vita, who's kind of our chief ice cream maker / compliance manager, basically brought out ice cream. And they're like, hey, is this good? Is this not good? And so we played around with that. But in picking the 4 flavors, we went with ingredients that we know we can source.
That's smart.
We can source quickly. And so really after tonight, Jay will give us the thumbs up, and I'll tell the production department, all right, y'all, order the ingredients. Let's get it up. Let's go. And we can have ice cream out. I mean, if we had to, let's see, today's Tuesday. We could have it in dip cabinets on Friday if we had to.
Now, maybe this is a question that is ridiculous, and I apologize if not, but I don't work in ice cream. But so what happens if the thing is like a hit? Like, what happens if it really takes off? Is there a reality in which Chesterfield 275, whatever it might be called, and we also don't know what the name will be that will be chosen, but what happens if it hits? It could be around for a long time. I mean, maybe not 275 years, but a long time, right? And I mean, is that something that is on the table in terms of hey, if people really respond to this, it could hang around a lot longer than just, this sort of period of time or this 8 weeks or whatever, right? It could be, here for a while. What do you think what does that look like for you guys? Because, I mean, it kind of sounds like Jay kind of helped you guys out a little bit because that's one less flavor that you need to
Yeah, exactly. He's on the payroll now.
But seriously, though, it could hit. And if it hits and people, even if the folks who aren't in Chesterfield like it, maybe they're ordering, whatever insert name of Chesterfield ice cream here all the way through the fall. Is that something that, realistically could happen?
Yes.
Yes. And I would imagine that'd be a fun problem to have, is to figure out what you're doing with it for the next good bit. All
So
right, now,
on that subject,
Yeah.
we had a flavor last year. We did a personality series.
Okay.
We had a flavor called Kurt's Coffee Caramel Crunch. And if you watched NBC 12, you've probably seen Kurt Autry.
Yeah, Kurt Autry, yep.
That flavor, bananas.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't actually banana, but
Yeah, no, I
went
do what you
bananas. And we actually rolled it back or ran it back in February, Suzy? It was so popular that we went ahead and just did it again.
Yeah.
So by all means, that is not off the table here. If people are like, holy cow, the Chesterfield
Whatever
XYZ, was amazing.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll bring it back.
Yeah, that's
It's
awesome.
fun.
We also do these fun flavor drops. So we had an Eclipse Day flavor.
Nice.
We had a Leap Day flavor, and we put 2 tubs in every store, and you get it while you can.
Oh, that's great.
And so if this flavor is popular, we might do a drop later on this year
Right.
and just bring it back for one day, 2 tubs only. Get out to the stores when you can, and
That's
maybe
cool.
we could do some Chesterfield swag or something
That's
to go
fun.
along with it
I
too.
love it. So it will be available at all of the various Gelati Celestis. So even if you're not technically in Chesterfield at the time you wanted to purchase it, you can. Now, in terms of the way we're going to roll this out, the plan is for the tasters, obviously, pick the flavor tonight. It'll all start to sort of get announced as going into that weekend for the 275. In terms of getting their spoons in the flavor, Tom, how is this going to work? Is it just, I guess it's the first time is actually at the 275 celebration that night, right?
Absolutely. Yep. So tonight will be the first time any members of the public have tasted this flavor or possible flavor.
And then I guess you have samples there for folks on the night of the 275, and then they're also there for purchase, right?
Yes.
And
yes,
then
that's
after
the plan.
that, it'll be in all of your stores from that point forward. Suzy, in terms of your excitement level for this, you mentioned this a little bit ago, just sort of the unique opportunity that this is. How excited are you guys to sort of right here be on the cusp? Again, I love the way that the scheduling sort of worked out, that we're here, we're already talking about like, all right, the people will be there tonight, and Vito's going to do this, and it sounds like there's a lot of excitement going into tonight and certainly into the next few weeks.
We've had so much fun with this. We never get bored in our jobs by any means, but just thinking of new flavors, it's a few of us just sitting around coming up with ideas. But when we can get other people involved, especially we love our local community. So as soon as we can get other folks involved, we get so excited.
Yeah.
Love to hear the feedback from our customers,
Yeah.
our loyal fans. So we've been jazzed up about this.
Yeah. Now, what I find really interesting about this is that as we recorded today, we don't know. If you're watching this right now on YouTube, you've seen pictures throughout from the tasting just because of the way that time works, right? And so folks who are watching, who are now listening to as we wrap up here, they've seen stuff, but we don't know yet. So I don't know why, but I keep coming back to this. I just love the timing of it. I think it's great. But guys, thank you very much for coming on the show and talking to us about Chesterfield's 275th anniversary ice cream special edition flavor, however we want to describe it. We're really excited to see what comes out of tonight's tasting, and certainly excited to see everybody out at the 275th celebration on the 25th, 26th, 25th. I keep messing those days up. It's basically that weekend. That's Saturday night.
Yep.
Suzy, Tom, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you
thanks so much
much
for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Now, make sure you check us out on social media. On Twitter, it's Chesterfield VA, and on Instagram, it's Chesterfield Virginia, all one word. And on Facebook, you can check out our podcast page. Just search Chesterfield Behind the Mic. Now, make sure to follow or subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, or wherever it is that you get your shows. And if you're so inclined to give us a rating or review, we greatly appreciate it. As always, a video version of our show is available on our YouTube channel, as well as on our website at Chesterfield.gov/podcast. That's also where you can submit feedback anytime, make suggestions, or just reach out to us. You can watch the show on WCCT Thursday through Sunday at 7, on the weekends at noon. That is Comcast Channel 98 and Verizon Channel 28. Lastly, check out Chesterfield.gov/connect with us to find out a number of other ways to connect with Chesterfield County. My thanks to my director, Martin Stith, my executive producer, Teresa, Bonifas, and all the good folks from Constituent and Media Services for all they do. And my thanks to you for joining us today. So, from all of us here in Chesterfield, thanks again for making us a part of your day. We'll see you again real soon. Take good care. Get some ice cream. From blogs to podcasts, and I'm very glad to tell you that Chesterfield Behind the Mic is on the air once again. Newsletters to alerts, social media, the latest community news,
Welcome to the latest installment of This Week in Chesterfield.
how to get in touch, and everything in between. If you want to know about Chesterfield County, our Connect With Us webpage has you covered. Chesterfield.gov/connect with us. Connect with us, your source for all things Chesterfield.